What better to do on a cold, rainy Sunday than do some reloading? I'm currently prepping some 223 brass. Knock the primer out and then pop it through this little gadget. It's called a swage tool. It opens up the primer pocket to make the new primer going easier. You remember when this was a household name? Man, how times change. So I've recently been called to my face a gun-toting right-wing radical. Well, part of that's right, I guess. So let's talk about it. From the day I turned 21 years old, I pretty much ran to the local sheriff's department and got my CCW, my concealed carry weapons license. And I have carried a pistol in my belt ever since. I've worn out many holsters. I've only carried a couple different guns. I carried a Glock 23 40 cal for about 15 years. I carried a Glock 19 for about 5 years. And now I carry this little guy. Glock 43X, Apex trigger, undercut frame, night sights, extended slide release. Fits my big monster hands. 15 round magazine. I really like this little dude. Shoots good, handles good, it's very easy to conceal. Lots of bang. I recommend looking into one of these. So yeah, I've always carried a gun. I don't remember the year exactly. I was working as a youth minister at a church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I had been working there for about 3 years when it was brought to the attention of the elders that I worked for that I carried a firearm, which immediately caused a very serious meeting where I was interrogated. Is it true that you carry a firearm? Yes, sir. You always carry a firearm? Always. Even when I preach. Even when you preach? Even when I preach. If I have pants on, I have a gun on. Well, why? Because it's my legal right? Well, Coast, why do you think you need to carry a firearm? Well, need is a strong word. Like, I don't think you don't need to wear shoes. You don't. It's just a personal preference. You don't need to wear a hat when it's cold. In my mind, what carrying a firearm does is creates an option. In your walk of life, should a certain element of danger present itself, a type of danger that wants to hurt or kill you or someone you love or someone around you, it gives you the option to meet that force with force. That's it. Now, there are a lot of people out there that have this mindset simply because they carry a firearm that they're going to win. That they've watched too many episodes of Gunsmoke or they've watched too many John Wick movies and they automatically think a good guy with a gun beats a bad guy with a gun. And that's not how it works. Danger can present itself so fast and in such a way that it can catch you sleeping and it can catch you off guard. It can catch everyone off guard. If that wasn't true, soldiers would live forever. But carrying a firearm gives you another option. And that option is really only viable if you train and practice and understand what you should and shouldn't do given that scenario. What I mean is, if you have a chainsaw, doesn't make you a lumberjack. If you go out and buy a guitar, doesn't make you a musician. And if you go out and buy a firearm, does not make you armed. Training, handling the firearm, understanding the firearm, very, very important. I'm not talking about going to a range and standing shooting holes in a piece of paper at 9 yards static. All that does is teach you how to shoot. Bang, bang, put holes in a piece of paper. Is there some importance to that? Yes, but it's very little. Understanding concealment, cover, how to respond to the threat, how to respond to the environment. If you're out in public and a bad guy pulls a gun out and you whip out your pistol and you start laying down rounds and you shoot some innocent kid in the head, well, you haven't done society any favors, have you? And there are lots and lots of people who get killed with their own gun. Pull a gun out, don't know when, how, or why to use it, have it taken away from them and used on them. Sad scenario, but real. Danger is no more prevalent now than it has ever been. The only thing that has changed is that little thing right there. We have videos of everything now. And you can witness all these different crimes unfold and all these tragic things happen. So we think more of it happens. In 1966, August 1st, 1966, 10 years before I was born, a 25-year-old man by the name of Charles Whitman killed his wife and his mother with a knife, then drove to the University of Austin, Texas, where he went to the Central Tower, the Central Bell Tower. He shot 3 more people in the tower with a Smith & Wesson Model 19 .357 revolver. He then went up to the 28th floor of the tower, where he proceeded to shoot 42 more people with a Remington Model 700 6mm bolt-action rifle. 11 of those people lost their lives. Charles Whitman killed 16 people in all that day before he was subdued by law enforcement. He went on that shooting spree for 96 minutes. That was 10 years before I was born. Now, every time you hear of a mass shooting, they blame the ARs and they blame, it's just a media frenzy free-for-all. And I'm not saying that carrying a firearm that you can stop mass shooters. I'm not saying that me carrying a firearm that I can stop anything. What I am clearly saying is that given a certain scenario where danger presents itself in a way that I can see and understand and manage my position, my disposition, and my emotions in that scenario, that I have an option available to me. And that option is to meet force with force. Doesn't mean that I'm going to win, doesn't mean that I'm going to survive. It just means that I have an option to try. If you don't have a firearm, your options are you can run, you can hide, you can try to fight unarmed, or you can stand around and chew on some buckshot. Call me a radical. Okay, I mean, I don't know that I would argue. I don't think I'm a radical. I like to shoot. I practice and train. I like to load my own ammunition. I like to teach people about firearms. I like to talk about firearms. I'm not really a gun nut. I don't have multiple gun magazines delivered to my house and constantly looking for opportunities to talk about the new model this or the new model that's coming out. But I do like to shoot. And I do like to teach and train people about firearms. But if carrying a firearm makes me a radical, so be it. And I suppose what I would encourage then is, well, why don't you yourself become a radical? Man, woman, young, old, doesn't really matter what your job is. If you interact with the public, you're in a position where danger could present itself. Learn how to carry, learn how to draw, learn how to handle, learn how to present, learn how to accurately fire, not just standing in the range. Fire with your right hand, fire with your left hand, fire from the ground, fire from prone, fire from kneeling. Learn how to reload your weapon, learn how to handle it effectively, so that in the situation that danger does present itself, you may be ready. If you're walking around the mindset thinking that you will be ready simply because you carry a firearm, well, then you're probably a narcissist and you're kidding yourself. It's simply an option. And that doesn't mean that that option is always going to win. But I guess the basis of my point here, I think it's important to have a firearm. I think it's more important to train, learn how to handle, learn what it will and won't do, learn how to effectively use it given that scenario. If you're in Walmart, texting your friend, hanging out in the back of the store looking at TVs or something, and you hear gunfire, what do? Do you draw your pistol and run to the gunfire? I hope not. What do? Do you have these what if scenarios planned in your mind? If you're sitting in your car and somebody taps on your window and you look over and you're looking down the barrel of a pistol and they say, give me your wallet, what do? I really hope you don't reach for your gun. That's how you die. Actively having a vigilant mindset and creating these scenarios in your mind and looking around at your situation scenario wherever you go in public and wherever you're at, imagining the what if scenario. What if this happens? What if that happens? So that you can at least prepare your mind when danger does present itself. Just some food for thought. I don't think I'm right. I don't think that my way is the way or the only way. It's just how I choose to live. Thanks.